This is Ryan Brennan with another episode of Lost in the Midlands, and I am here with somebody very special today. I'm super excited to introduce Jada Willis. Jada is a podcaster, a nationally recognized speaker on human resources.
Thank you.
She's also the CEO of Willis HR. And I've personally worked with Jada on some projects, and it was awesome. So excited
Thank you for that.
Here. Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Well, recently you have authored a book on the current state of the world and human resources, Pantsless Nation, HR guidance for mastering remote work. So I'm super excited to jump into the book, catch everybody up on the stuff you're doing. But first, if you could, can you tell us a little bit of your human resources journey to Willis HR?
Yeah, it's actually, and again, thanks for having me, but it's actually a unique one because folks, in their high school days, 7th or 8th grade, don't typically know what they're going to do for the rest of their life. But I loved psychology, law, and business, and what I actually did as a server at Ponderosa Steakhouse, I begged the director of HR for an internship in human resources. And at the time, she was visiting every day. And now in retrospect, I found out that's not a good thing, by the way. But I begged her for an internship. She couldn't afford to pay me. So I said, pay me in chicken wings and mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
And so, even at 16, 17 years old, I was traveling to Ohio. I lived in Pennsylvania, so I was traveling to Ohio, West Virginia, and doing management interviews, investigations. So I started in HR rather young, and then proceeded to get my undergraduate and graduate degree in human resources, and lots of HR corporate jobs later. I decided to actually start Willis HR, and I started Willis HR in 2014. Officially left corporate life in 2016, and now I have a phenomenal HR team. That is my support and secret sauce.
Well, it's no surprise to hear that you started when you were 16. Jada is super sharp, so I know they benefited quite a bit from your leadership. So, with the book, Pantsless Nation, there's a lot of golden nuggets in here. There's a ton.
Thank you.
But, one thing that really stuck out to me is just some of the stuff the advice to a small business owner. So can you kind of expand on, what is some of those key points that they need to hear right now?
Yeah, and I don't want anyone to get fooled by the title, right? So everyone saw Pantsless Nation, they're like, wait a second, I thought this was an HR book. And I promise you it is. And it's really coming from a place of, Willis HR is a remote team. And we even have, team members in Texas, right? And so I'm coming from this place. And then with COVID, we had to help organizations transition very quickly to remote workplaces. We had one client that had 40 employees, and within 3 to 4 days, we had everyone working remotely and actually all tech issues resolved.
Wow.
So I wanted to very, very quickly put together, everything that was in my heart and mind and my toolbox, and try to put together something that could really help leaders and help leaders in a quick way understand that they could have a productive team. You can grow your team. You can function and be very much even performance driven and successful if your team is distributed or remote. And so that was a long introduction to the fact that there are some really good points, and I'm passionate about it because I've dove into even the additional research. And this is for small businesses, though.
Yeah.
This isn't just the Googles of the world that are waiting until 2 years from now to go back into the office. These are small businesses, and what I think leaders need to do is understand there's a balance in being human, but there's also putting the right tools in place, putting the right strategies in place so that you can continue to support your team. They know that you're empowering them to do the job, but then you also have the mechanisms in place so that you can inspect what you expect. Does that make sense?
I love that.
Thank you. It's in the book.
So one thing that you were discussing with me before we started was the weekly schedule. And just something real quick out of the book, you were talking about how to open up the week and close it out. Can you expand on that? Because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I love this because I'm so intentional. And that's what leaders, I think, are missing in general. So whether you're in person or even it's remote, you have to be intentional and have a strategy. So the beginning of the week, especially at Willis HR, is a hour-long video chat where we're talking about strategy for the week. We're talking about what do we want to accomplish? What is our actions? What are the things that from last week that we need to kind of put on the forefront, prioritize? And then even Wednesday, it's a quick call, but it's all together.
Yeah. And
then on Friday, we're closing out the week. We're talking about accomplishments. We're talking about successes. We're talking about how do we ease into the weekend and have a little bit of fun. But then ultimately just recognize each other and really support each other on the week, but then even prepare for next week. And so it's all very intentional. And yes, we have an agenda, but it's not as rigid, if that makes sense. But I want to actually point out something else that's also in the book, and it's called end of days. Okay. So leaders are going to love this. And then once you even read more about it in the book, you're going to be like, this is it. Then your employees are going to be like, absolutely not at first. But then they're going to realize very quickly, this is a lifesaver for everyone. So you need to ask your employees to put together what's their end-of-day summary. So you can summarize it by client and the action steps that you took that day, or even projects or tasks that you've worked on that day. And I always like to say, if there is pushback initially, listen, you have a to-do list. All you have to do is really just put your to-do list in this end-of-day summary. And it helps everyone know and everyone be on the same page and understand where are we at with different clients? Where are we at with, that question that one client had? So it helps with the communication. Yeah. Also helps the leader be like, what did you do all day? Helps the employee say, well, this is what I did all day. And so it's actually bridging the gap of that miscommunication that always happens, and that the assumptions, well, they know I'm working. Or maybe they don't, and I have to continue to prove that, and it's like 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. Let's take away the assumptions and just put some, actionable steps in place. Yeah.
It's powerful that you preach it and then you go out and you do it too in your own business.
Got to. I tested it for everyone, okay? Let's just say I've had some trial and error along the way, but good news is we're just rolling right now. That's good.
Awesome. Well, where are leaders kind of slipping up right now? Like, where are the points where they're, really having trouble with that transition? Where do you see that?
Yeah, so many points. Well, I want to say that what you do today will impact tomorrow. And what do I mean by that? I mean that employees are going to remember. And they're going to remember because I have candidates that are getting multiple job offers in a given day. Yeah. But 6 months from now, a year from now, they're going to remember how they were treated in the midst of COVID-19. They're going to remember, even if you can't provide all the benefits in the world, did you ask them if they're okay? Did you ask them how they're doing? They're going to remember that. So I think that a lot of leaders have a lot of pressure right now because they have to take care of themselves and their family. But they also have to extend and even outwardly show the care and concern that they have for their team even more. They have to communicate more. And a lot of leaders are they're kind of going inward because they don't know what to say. Yeah. They don't know what to do. And I want to make sure every leader knows, as long as you're even asking your team, and I'd say on a consistent basis, how are you? And really listening and really wanting to know, or is there anything that I can do to make your job easier, your job better? And so I think that that's a miss of kind of the human perspective, but it's also not, I think that leaders also are just kind of fumbling in the sense of, do I put this project management tool in place, or how often do I call my employee or do a video chat? Yeah. You do have to put a plan together, and you have to let your employees know what that plan is. I think that a lot is mistaken whenever you're in an office environment, right? There's an assumption, and you can Becky's walking around the hallway and you're like, hey, come on in. And you have that on-the-spot coaching or on-the-spot conversation. You have to be so thoughtful and forward-thinking now of, hey, I'm going to have to schedule it at this time. And is this a good time for both of us? And just being, again, more engaged and more in touch with your team. So that doesn't lead me into the compliance violations that are happening right now, and employers, thinking that workers' comp doesn't apply to remote employees, or I don't need a remote, work agreement. Okay, that's a whole new section. You need to call us, willishr.com. But there's a lot that's a fumbling right now.
Okay. Noted. It sounds like that personal relationship, the connection, can still be had even with the remote activity.
Yeah, a lot of folks are wondering, how do I stay connected with my team? And given it's not, that face-to-face interaction, but there's so much that we can do as leaders to stay connected. And even come on, we have to incorporate the fun. I don't care how busy your workplace is. I am a driver. I'm performance driven, and I want to help my clients and get immediate responses. But I still make time, and this is every other week, where I block out an hour or 2 hours, and we just even play games with each other or have a happy hour with each other. And it's just mandatory fun.
It's a great place to work. It sounds awesome.
Hey, we're hiring.
Okay. Awesome. Well, so you got this resource for people, and I've reverted back to this many a times. It sounds like you have another resource on your website for small business owners to stay in the loop on what they need to be following. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So we do have HR Essentials. So it's a monthly subscription. It's $99 a month, and it's because I wanted to eliminate the issue of small business owners saying, I can't afford HR. It's a nice to have, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. You know what? And sadly, a lot of business owners would come to us either whenever they're getting an audit, or there's some type of litigation, legal trouble. I have received a demand letter. If you don't know what that is, good, but but you also don't want to know. So with that being the case, we put together over 100 different documents, templates, forms, resources, guides, even trainings that we're starting to upload as well, so that you can have unlimited access. I really want all small business owners, all nonprofits to have access to the HR, essentials, the HR resources that they really need. And then you can also opt in for HR consulting. So whenever that question or that problem does arise, then we're there for that. And you can contact one of our HR team members. It's super simple, but every one of our clients, even the HR Essentials, even the folks that are paying $99 a month, receive an entire HR team to support them. And I kind of take heart to that, because I'm just I want to help so many different people, and I just want to eliminate the objection of, I'll grow into that at 50 employees. Dude, you need to call us. You need to call us and start fresh, so you have that foundation, you have that infrastructure in place. And I would say definitely before you get to the 15 employee mark and then 20 employee mark, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Very accessible and sounds very affordable. So that's legit.
Exactly.
I know that you don't like to advertise all of the nonprofit stuff you do, but I know you have the heart of a giver, and you've done some really awesome stuff with the homeless, Harvest Hope. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what inspired you to work in that direction here locally?
Yeah, and I just don't like talking about this, and I would say it's because, and I told you, right, I didn't want to talk about it.
I know you did.
No, I appreciate you. And I think it's very important that at the core of me, and I think at the core of every team member that I have, is that we are genuine people that really want to help other people. And not just I could never be a nurse, right? I'll pass out if I see blood. But I want to use my gifts, I want to use my talents, and I want to use the resources that we have to really help others. And so, yes, we work a good bit with Harvest Hope and volunteerism there. We've also done a luggage drive for foster children with DSS. And there's certain groups, of course, I think that everyone has a need right now, and it could even be your neighbor. Yeah. But it's imperative to me that we all do our part, and that we all are spreading kindness. The bare minimum. If you don't want to, spend the money or even spend the time, it doesn't hurt to even hold the door for someone or say a kind word, and to be able to continue to be, that light in the community. And so I'm basically just looking at my backyard and saying, hey, how can we do some good? But I do have one team member in particular that's probably the driver of, she just gives so selflessly and drives all of us. All of us really have a heart for, hey, what can we do next? Yeah. We did have some big plans, though, in the giving arena that really were stifled by COVID-19. Yeah. Last year, we actually partnered with GF3 and Good Food, Good Feet, Good Friday, and we washed the feet of the homeless.
Wow.
It was, I would say that is a life-changing experience, because I mean, and then even in that moment, I had one lady that wanted to pray for me, and it was impactful. So everything that we do is at the core of trying to do good and to be good, and just to do the best we can. But we're going to continue to push through COVID-19 and help in any way. We're actually what's coming up is going to do some job skills training.
Cool.
And so we'll do some resume writing and mock interviewing and things of that nature. But we just have to get creative on how we help.
Awesome. Well, that's powerful, and that's super exciting to hear. You got that going on. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
And for the business owner out there right now who's just struggling, to get through this, do you have any, final message for him?
Yeah.
Aside from please go get the book.
Yeah, right. Well, it's him and her. And all those in between. And so all the business owners and leaders right now, I would say that we all need a support system, right? So we do have to find that. And whoever that mentor is, it's okay to ask for help every day, but it's okay in the midst of all this to be asking for help and to be vulnerable. And I would say that even if it's calling us, and even the first, I didn't even mention this, but with that HR Essentials, you get 30 minutes of HR consulting. If you just want to use that to be like, listen, I just need a sounding board, you don't know me, I would be more than happy to do that, even in the HR team. So my advice is to, yes, take stock and take care of yourself. And this is male, female, everyone. Take care of yourself, because the people around you also need you and your team needs you. So in order for you to make good, sound business decisions right now that are going to probably impact 5 to 10 years from now, you've got to pick the right partners, strategic partners, and reach out for that mentorship. But then also take care of your team, because they're also going to be the ones taking care of you a year and 5 years from now. So that's my advice. And even if you don't know a single soul that can help you, there's a resource right here.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic advice. Thanks so much for sharing all of that. And this book, it really is a great resource for me. So thanks for bringing this to the light. Appreciate you coming on today, Jada.
No problem at all. And you can definitely call me. You get hours.
Thank you.